Imagine you're at a gathering surrounded by people, laughter, and conversation. You strike up a chat with someone, and within minutes, you realize this person is different. They're not just talking, they're making you feel seen, heard, and understood. You're hanging on to their every word, and time seems to fly. You leave that conversation feeling lighter, more connected, and genuinely excited to meet them again. Now picture the opposite scenario, a conversation that feels flat and forgettable, where you can't wait to escape the awkward silence. You nod politely, but your mind wanders elsewhere. What makes the difference between these two experiences? The secret lies in the art of conversation. It's not just about the words we choose, it's about the connections we create. Today, we're diving deep into the powerful techniques of active listening, emotional engagement, and validation that can transform your conversations into unforgettable experiences. By the end of this video, you'll discover how to leave a lasting impression on anyone you meet, turning every interaction into a meaningful exchange. So, if you're ready to become that person everyone remembers, stick around. Let's unlock the secrets to making your conversations not just good, but truly great. It's not about what you say, it's how you make them feel. Most people won't remember the exact words you used in a conversation, but they will remember the feeling they had when talking to you. You could have the most entertaining stories, the funniest jokes, or the smartest insights, but if the person you're speaking to doesn't feel a genuine connection, the conversation won't leave a lasting impression. The secret to making any conversation unforgettable isn't about talking more, being more charming, or even having all the right answers. It's much simpler than that. It's about making the other person feel truly heard. Active listening is the key. When you listen deeply to someone, not just hearing their words, but really focusing on the emotions and meaning behind what they're saying, you create an instant connection. Think about the last time you spoke with someone who made you feel like you were the only person in the room. They weren't distracted by their phone or waiting for their turn to speak. They were fully present, engaged in what you had to say. That feeling is powerful, and when you make someone feel that way, they'll remember you long after the conversation is over. Let's get into the psychology of it. When someone feels genuinely listened to, it activates their brain's reward system. It feels good to be heard, just like receiving a compliment or a gift. This creates a positive emotional experience, and that feeling sticks. But here's the thing. Most people think they're good listeners, but in reality, they're just waiting for their chance to speak. Real listening requires presence, curiosity, and focus, and this is where most conversations fall short. If you can master the art of listening, you'll be unforgettable to anyone you talk to. So how do you do it? Active listening isn't just about being quiet and nodding along. It's about engaging with what the other person is saying. Here's a trick. When they're talking, don't plan your response in your head. Instead, focus entirely on their words and respond with something about them. If someone is telling you about a tough week, don't immediately jump in with, "Yeah, I had a rough week too." Instead, ask more questions. "That sounds really difficult. What was the hardest part for you?" Or, "How did you manage to get through that?" When you ask these kinds of questions, you're showing that you care about their experience, and that makes them feel important. When people feel important, they connect with you on a deeper level. You're giving them something most people don't, your full attention. That's what makes a conversation memorable. But let's dive deeper into the nuances of active listening. One of the most powerful tools you have is paraphrasing. When you paraphrase what someone has just told you, you're demonstrating that you've been actively processing their words. For example, if someone shares a story about a frustrating day at work, you might respond with, "So you felt overwhelmed when your boss handed you that big project unexpectedly." This not only validates their feelings, but also encourages them to elaborate. It shows them that you're engaged and that you truly care about their perspective. There's another psychological trick you can use that works wonders: mirroring. This is when you subtly reflect the other person's body language, tone, or even some of their words. Studies show that people feel more comfortable and connected when they see parts of themselves reflected back. It's not about copying them, but if they lean in, you lean in a bit. If they're excited, match their energy. This creates an unconscious bond, making the other person feel like you're in sync with them. And when they feel that connection, the conversation will stand out in their memory. Validation is another crucial part of unforgettable conversations. People need to feel like their thoughts and feelings matter. When you validate someone, you acknowledge their emotions and make them feel understood. For example, if someone shares something personal or emotional, don't just brush it off or change the topic. Instead, validate what they're saying. "That sounds really tough. I can understand why you'd feel that way." Simple, right? But this small act of validation can make them feel seen and appreciated. When someone feels validated, their defenses drop, and they open up more. That's when you move from surface-level chit-chat to a real, meaningful connection. And that's the kind of conversation that sticks with someone long after it's over. Imagine if you could have this kind of impact on everyone you meet. The conversations you have would not only be memorable, but transformative for both parties. Another way to make your conversation stand out is through storytelling. People love stories, but it's not just about entertaining them. The key to making your stories impactful is to make them relatable. When you share something personal, it creates a bridge between your life and theirs. For instance, if they're talking about a challenge at work, you could share a story about a time you faced something similar. But here's the trick. Don't just focus on the facts of your story. Talk about the emotions you felt and what you learned. This emotional connection is what makes your story stick with them and turns the conversation into something more than just small talk. Additionally, storytelling can help you to illustrate your points more vividly. If you're discussing a difficult experience, adding a personal anecdote can make your message resonate on a deeper level. You could say, "I remember feeling completely lost when I started my first job after college. It felt like everyone knew what they were doing, and I was just fumbling through the motions." By sharing this, you humanize yourself and allow the other person to see you as relatable, which builds trust and a deeper connection. Finally, one of the best ways to ensure people remember you after a conversation is to leave them wanting more. Don't dominate the conversation with your own stories or overwhelm them with advice. Instead, listen more than you speak, ask engaging questions, and let the conversation flow naturally. When it's time to wrap things up, leave on a high note. Say something like, "I'd love to hear more about that next time," or "We should definitely continue this conversation later." This leaves them thinking about you and looking forward to the next interaction. And that's when you know you've made the conversation unforgettable. So what's the secret to making any conversation unforgettable? It's simple. Make the other person feel heard. Listen deeply. Engage with their emotions. Validate their experiences and leave them wanting more. Do this, and you'll stand out from everyone else they talk to. They won't remember every word you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. If you want to level up in life, comment below, "I am a high-value man." And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Gods be with you.